you're doing well. Welcome back to Just Add Ginger and thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today I am here with a very special guest, and it's a guest you probably haven't seen in one of my videos, at least not one of my sit down with me style videos, in quite a long time. And he's in the room with me now. He's being a little bit grumpy and he doesn't really like being on camera that much, but I'll see if I can get him in shot so you can see who it is. It's Dave! He's gotten so big. There you go, look. Look. Oh, and he's off. Dave! Psst, psst, psst. What's this? What's this? The spray knocks everything down. What's that? Today I thought it would be a great opportunity while Dave is actually awake and lively to film an update about him. We've had Dave now for just over a year. He never stays still. We've had Dave for just over a year. I think we got him, was it May last year? Rescued him. But anyway, he's been part of our family for quite a long time now, and I've either inserted clips at the beginning of this video or I'll insert them at the end. You can see how much he's grown in that time. He is well and truly a cat now and not a kitten. He is about 17, 18 months now. I think he's 18 months. So well and truly grown. In terms of his size, he is now 4.5 kilos. I think he's on track. The vet hasn't told us that he's overweight, but he does love his food. He absolutely loves his food. He's playing with his mice right now, so woo! I'm hoping he doesn't knock all my setup down. He absolutely loves his food. He is very much set into a routine. He's like having a child. He knows exactly when our alarms go off in the morning, so he will be there on my side of the bed 15 minutes before my alarm goes off, sitting there patiently waiting for me to get up and to go and give him his food. In terms of food, he tends to eat dried food in the morning. He eats breakfast with us. He's got his quirks. He won't eat his breakfast until there's somebody standing by his bowl to say kind of almost, "Oh Dave, it's okay, you can eat your breakfast now." He won't eat until somebody's standing there to kind of give him the all clear to start eating. But he has that in the morning, and that kind of tides him over until I get hungry around lunchtime. Then at lunchtime he has either one of those packets of wet food, or what we've been doing lately, because he's got a little bit of tartar build up on his teeth, we've just been giving him a bit more dry food. Not too much, just because we tend to give him most of his food at breakfast time. So he has a little bit of dry food or one of those wet food pouches at lunchtime, and then at bedtime or when it's our dinner time we give him a little bit more dried food just to tide him over for the night, and then that's him done. He doesn't want anything else, and we've actually got him into a really good routine, which I'm quite impressed with. I don't know how we managed to do it, but he only knows to eat from his food bowl. He doesn't scrounge or try to scrounge from our dinner plates if we put them on the floor. He will on occasion, because we don't have a dining room table anymore, so we sit and eat on the sofa. He will jump up onto the little armrest next to where I'm sitting and have a little sniff around, but he knows not to go and steal food from our plates. He will only eat food from his bowl in the kitchen, or if we put food on the floor for him. He will occasionally get the odd piece of ham or sausage if he's been a particularly good boy. We don't tend to treat him that much. We don't want him to be too spoilt too often, because when we do go to take him to my parents' house or to boyfriend's parents' house, if we need extra care for him, if we're going away, his routine changes and he does get a little bit spoiled. That's perfectly fine with us, but when he's in the house with us, we want to keep him in as much of a routine as possible. Also, so I've got some notes on my phone so I don't go off and ramble. What I should have said as well is when we filmed our first video about Dave, when we first got him, we mentioned that he has a slight juvenile heart murmur. That at the moment hasn't gone away. They can still hear it when they check, you know, do his checkup when he goes to the vet, but it doesn't faze him at all. He's happy, he's always on the go, he never really sleeps, he's very playful, so we're not concerned if the vet's not concerned, and it's not seemed to be an issue at the moment, and hopefully as he gets that little bit older he will grow out of it. I mentioned how intelligent he is when he knows to eat from only his food bowl. He knows how to do quite a few things now. He knows how to open doors, even the push down handle ones. That was something he learned quite early on. We as cat owners learnt about him. He does not like to be left. In particular, he's very clingy to me. If I'm in the house, he will find me. He will be downstairs eating or playing, and I'll have gone upstairs to do whatever. As soon as he knows that I'm not down there with him, he will come up to find me. If I'm writing a blog post or I'm editing a video... Do you want me to open that? There you go. He will come up and sit with me on the floor in the box room, which is where I film, where I'm sitting now. What else can he do? Oh, he knows how to open cabinets. He knows where his food lives, so we know if he's feeling hungry because he will go over to the cabinet in the kitchen where his food is, and he will open it for himself as if to say, yo, come on and feed me now, I'm hungry. So that's something else he's learnt. We've also got him to know not to jump up on the counter to get his food. He seemed to pick up on this really quickly, but every time I give him his wet food in particular, because he loves his wet food to eat at lunchtime, I get him to sit on the ground. I think on my Instagram I've posted a video of him doing that. I don't know if I've got any footage of him doing it for this video. Oh, there he is again. But he will sit for his food. He won't jump up, and he knows the only way to get his food is if I say sit and he sits down on his bottom. That's the only way he knows how to get wet food. Dry food he's not so fussed about. The wet food is more kind of his treat meal in the day, so that's the one that he sits for, and he knows how to do that, and he will do that. If we say, sit down Dave, sit down, he knows that that's the way he's going to get his food, and he always responds to that command. So I'm quite pleased that we taught him that. I didn't think it would be possible to train a cat, but we kind of have. In terms of personality, Dave is probably one of the most tactile cats that I've ever met. He loves to be cuddled, he loves to be stroked. He will, if we're watching a film of an evening or watching something on TV, me and boyfriend together, he will jump up and sit on either boyfriend or me and want cuddles. He is very receptive. I've said before how clingy he is to me. He's also very protective. There's been a few occasions where I've been upstairs doing my makeup. Dave's been sitting at the top of the stairs, kind of almost as my bodyguard, and boyfriend kind of has come, like, not jumping up the stairs because you don't jump up the stairs, but kind of enthusiastically walking up the stairs, and Dave has gone to jump on him to kind of protect me, I suppose. I'm the one who's here for most of the day, so when Dave was very small, I was the one that he saw the most, so I don't know if that's had some kind of impact, but he is very protective, he's very tactile, and he's also very playful. He does need a lot of TLC, a lot of playing with. He's got so many toys, and he goes through kind of a rotation of his favourite toys that he likes to play with. I did have one of his favourite toys up here, but he's since taken it to play with. I don't know where it's gone. His favourite ever toys. We've bought him quite a lot over the past year just to see what he was drawn to the most, I suppose. But his favourite toys are the little purple and green toy mice that you can get from Tesco's. And I think we've got through, I'm not joking, I think we've got through about 30 of those mice, because he will play with them and play with them and play with them, and because we've got laminate flooring downstairs, they will slide and go right to the back of the sofa, and we will never see them again until we pull out the sofas to clean behind them, and then there'll be this whole mountain of toy mice. Those are his favourite. He did actually have his very favourite mice out of those mice. He played with it to absolute death. Its tail fell off, it didn't squeak anymore, but rattle. It's got kind of those bead things inside that make the noise. It didn't do that anymore. He takes them over to his water bowl and tries to drown them. So he drowned that one so many times that the fur was starting to fall off. Oh, he just loved it. I don't actually know what ended up happening to that one. We've not come across it yet. He does like to hide them as well, and then all of a sudden one will just appear on the floor and we're like, where on earth did that come from, because we haven't seen it in months. Those are his favourite. In terms of playing, boyfriend's choice of toy when we first got him was one of those LED laser pens that you can like point and then the beam appears. He loves playing things like that. He loves playing with ribbons. Sometimes I get parcels and packages and things that are tied up with ribbon, and he loves kind of dragging those around the house or playing with them. He does still play fight, which he tends to save for me. Again, I'm not really a cat expert, and we're just learning as we go along, but he will not necessarily play fight with a boyfriend. He will save it for me, and because he is getting older now, it does hurt. We are trying to get him out of that, but because he hasn't grown up with any brothers or sisters or kind of a mother cat's guidance, I don't think he really understands yet that there's a fine line between playing and being a bit too rough. So we're still trying to work on that. It's never malicious. You can tell because he will just like like put his teeth around your finger or whatever, but he just doesn't really understand. And especially if it's the morning and you've got one foot poking out of the bed covers and he will attack it, it's a little bit doesn't make you too happy, I can tell you, but he is generally quite good. He kind of saves that for when he's in a really playful mood, and we do tend to nip it in the bud if he's being a little bit too rough. So that's something we're working on. But if anybody has any insight or any tips they can give us on how to stop that, because we don't have another cat, that would be really helpful. At first we thought he was just going to be a house cat, and what we came to realise was that he can't just be a house cat all the time. We're not going to stay in this house forever, and this isn't really the biggest house. It's perfect for us, but we've got so much stuff now that we need a little bit more space. So we have tried to convince him that outside is okay, but when he's in this house, in his home, he doesn't like it. There are a lot of cats already that live on our road, and I think they've all kind of marked their territory, so he's very aware. There's one cat in particular who is his complete doppelganger. There have been a few times where we've been out for the day and come back and that cat has been in the road, and we're just like, is that Dave escaped or is that the other cat? We can't tell. That they're that similar. It's really difficult to tell the difference. That cat in particular makes him not... I don't want to make assumptions about that cat but this is what I've noticed. When that cat is by the window or sitting underneath my car outside the house, Dave goes a little bit crazy. He will tear up and down the living room and the dining room. So we've got open plan downstairs. He will leap at the window and just look out the window with like this fixated stare, and I think it's that cat that's particularly got him on edge. He won't go outside here. We have tried. He has gone for a little wander out the back, but sometimes you have cats or, you know, noises and he will run straight back in. Very skittish in this house. But we went down in mid-July for a family wedding, and we took Dave with us in the hope that he would get a little bit more confident and a little bit more socialised. When we first took him down, he was very nervous, very scared. My parents have got 2 older cats who are about 13 now, and he was very nervous around them. They were not bothered in the slightest. They were just like, oh, another cat, whoop-de-doo. But Dave was hissing, spitting, making this growling noise I've never heard before. It sounded a little bit scary. Very nervous at first, but once he'd got used to Spike and Fleur, those are my parents' cats, Spike and Fleur, being there, he was fine. But he's not very socialised, and that's because we don't have another cat here and he refuses to go outside. So we left him again with my parents for a few extra days actually, because they came up a few days after we came back up ourselves. So we left him down. When we were down there the night before we went to the wedding, same thing again, hissing, spitting, making this kind of gargling, growling noise. Other cats not bothered at all, but only when they were around. He was fine any other time. He was off exploring, sniffing. My dad absolutely loves him, so he was getting lots of attention. He was fine with that. It was just when the other cats were around, and we left him for, was it 3 days? A couple of days anyway, and it was kind of the best thing that we could do. He was around other cats, so whereas he was a little bit scared at first, by the end of the time he was there, him and Spike, who was the kind of main, not perpetrator, is that the right word? I don't know. He was the one that Dave had the most issues with in terms of the growling and the hissing. They were sharing a drink together out of a water tub. My parents have tubs outside and it collects rainwater, and the cats love drinking out of that, so they were sharing that together. He's very happy being a house cat here, but I hope when we move he regains that confidence again. Hopefully when we move we'll have a garden. That's the main thing that we want to move for, is a garden, because eventually we do want to get a dog. So I just hope that helped. Here he's got loads of room to play, especially now that we've got rid of our dining room table. He's got his own little area, he's got a massive cat tree, he's got loads of toys. We play with him every day, he's purring all the time, he's very content. I think he needs to have eventually a garden because he is very playful indeed, and just having a garden will give that extra little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Stimulation. There you go, stimulation, because there'll be other animals around that he has to get used to. There'll be other cats in the area, and you know, it hopefully will be a lot quieter, because up here it does get particularly noisy because we are in the city. I think that's it for now. I love being a cat mama, I really do. There's nothing that feels as good as coming home to my boys when I finish work, just knowing, even if boyfriend's not here, just knowing that Dave is here and I can come in and we can have a cuddle and he'll always be there. He so often comes to just jump on my lap, just to sit on it and just have a cuddle. He has this really quirky thing actually where, because I like to snuggle in the blanket that we've got downstairs, even if it's quite warm outside. If it's the evening, I just love to feel cosy. So if I've got that over me, he will jump onto me, but he will nestle himself under the blanket while sitting on my lap. It's just so cute. I've been a few times where I've been laying on the sofa if I've got some time off, and I'll be under the blanket with my head on the pillow there, and Dave will be kind of asleep slightly under the blanket on the bit of sofa next to me, and we have a little cat nap together. He is just gorgeous. We couldn't have asked for a better, more playful, more affectionate cat. He is just absolutely, oh, he's just made our lives more complete, and I honestly can't remember what life was like when we didn't have him. We absolutely adore him. I'm going to wrap it up there because I think I've told you everything I needed to tell you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment if you have any cat parent advice for us. We are still learning about this. He's our first family pet, so it's all brand new every day. And to keep up with all of my videos, hit that subscribe button. Go on, you know you want to. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch up with you all soon. Bye!